Let's turn to the campaign trail now. The Labour leader has foregone the traditional election day photo op of them voting, a staple of the 6 p.m. news on election day ever since there was a 6 p.m. news, casting her ballot today in a bid to encourage the party's supporters to follow suit. Jacinda Ardern voted early at a polling booth in a community hall in her Mount Albert electorate in Auckland just a day after the polls opened for early voting. Earlier, she unveiled Labour's plans to boost film and public broadcasting by $38 million a year, including launching a form of free-to-air, non-commercial television. Here's our political reporter, Demelza Leslie.
Traditionally, party leaders make a big deal of voting in their electorates on election day, but Jacinda Ardern is keen to highlight the importance of early voting and to boost turnout.
More than 27,000 people in the last election cast a vote that didn't count, in part because people can sometimes vote believing they're enrolled, but they weren't. So we want to make sure that if you want to remove any error, make sure you vote early.
So what will Ms Ardern do on election day instead? She openly discussed this with her partner Clark Gayford, who came with her to the polling station.
Maybe I'll have an extra cup of tea at home, go and see some volunteers. Maybe I'll do some chores for a change.
We haven't finished painting the fence yet, so...
Maybe I'll paint the fence on election day. Yep.
Advanced voting booths opened yesterday morning and already nearly 40,000 votes have been cast. The booths are located in shopping malls, supermarkets and at departure lounges at Auckland, Wellington and Christchurch airports. A woman who stopped Jacinda Ardern on her way out of the community hall in Mount Albert spoke of how easy it is to vote now.
It's lovely to be able to do voting in the shopping mall.
Oh, great. So that's where you did it, isn't it great?
Yeah, and don't have to rush on
Yeah,
Saturday.
awesome. Oh, I'm glad you
I've
did
never
it.
seen it in the mall before.
Awesome.
Yes.
That's as it should be. Nice
I
and
went home
easy.
and told my son, get down there, it's in the mall.
Good on you. And did he?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yes, and there were no lines.
Oh, that's great. Oh, thank you. Take care.
The Electoral Commission believes as many as half of all the votes cast will be in advance of election day. Earlier in the day, Ms Ardern visited Auckland Film Studios in Henderson, where she unveiled a $38 million annual boost for the film industry and public broadcasting. Labour wants to create a new public digital media service built around RNZ, including a free-to-air, non-commercial television service. That service would be called RNZ Plus.
Well, at the moment they're doing some broadcasting, but we see that certainly being expanded. We'll allow them to work out whether or not that's a 24/7 program.
Labour would create a new public media funding commissioner who would decide how the money would be allocated. Jacinda Ardern says that commissioner would be independent from political influence. The Coalition for Better Broadcasting's chair, Peter Thompson, likes that Labour's policy is focused on public broadcasting.
We know at the moment that it's very, very difficult for independent producers to get content on Television New Zealand or TV3 unless it already fits their commercial schedules. They routinely say no to a wide range of programs that might be culturally or democratically useful, but which they don't think is going to generate the ratings that they need, particularly for prime time.
Nationals leader Bill English says he doesn't understand why Labour is planning the new initiative and says the country is already well served by existing media outlets like RNZ and Māori television. Labour's policy includes working with Auckland Council to ensure it upgrades film studio infrastructure. A film industry worker, Phil Gregory, says he's been fighting the council to keep the Auckland film studios alive.
It just seems mad to me that an asset that's already owned by the council is going to slip through our fingers and potentially be turned into housing. That's fine. Housing, there's pressure on that in Auckland, but they're not going to be developing this area for another 10 years. The thing is, the overseas film industry is worth nearly $1 billion to the Auckland city area per year. So it's a huge industry and really it just needs some support.
There are less than 11 days until the election, and with many people choosing to vote early, it will put pressure on the main political parties to show all of their cards for spending promises sooner rather than later. In Auckland for Checkpoint, Demelza Leslie.